All right, welcome back to episode 6 of Legal Legends of the Hoosier State, brought to you by the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association. My name is Joe Williams, and I'm your host. Today, we're going to talk with a legal legend of the Hoosier State, Boyd Hovde. Boyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit, where were you born?
I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
So how do you get from Minneapolis, Minnesota to Indianapolis, Indiana?
Well, my dad was on the faculty of the University of Minnesota, and he then, I always called it, matriculated to the University of Rochester in Rochester, New York, as the assistant to the president of that institution, and so we moved to Rochester, New York when I was, I don't know, 3 or 4, and then World War II came upon us, and he was drafted down to Washington, D.C. with the Office of Scientific Research and Development, where he was put in charge of the development of our rocket program. And in that capacity, he worked back and forth between Washington and London because he coordinated those two programs developing rocketry. This is a long-winded answer, but I'm
keep it going.
I'm changing geography again.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting. He, on a number of occasions, couriered. We didn't have fax machines in those days, and he couriered between Roosevelt and Churchill. They'd put handcuffs on him in a briefcase, and when he was going to London, he carried papers to Churchill and back when he came back.
That's
in 1946, he became president of Purdue, and we moved to Lafayette, Indiana, and I've been in Lafayette or Indianapolis ever since.
Okay, that's right. That's awesome.
That's a long-winded answer, but that's the geography.
So, where'd you go to high school?
Lafayette Jeff.
Okay. What year did you graduate?
I got to go back and remember, but 1952.
Okay. And it says that did you then go to Princeton?
Yes.
Why Princeton?
Well, I think it really boiled down to, I remember my dad saying I wanted to go to Michigan because I'd been a camper and a counselor at a summer camp that was run by Matt Mann, who was the swimming coach at Michigan. He was one of the two premier swimming coaches. The other one was at, pardon the expression, Indiana University at the time. And I can't remember his name. I know it, but I can't remember it. In any event, trying to.
The camp up in Michigan.
Yeah.
You wanted to go to Michigan.
Yeah, and Dad thought that he thought Princeton was the finest institution. He talked me into going out there. We went out and looked at it, and I had a chance to play some sports and was smart enough to figure I wasn't going to do it at Michigan. So I said, okay, we'll go to Princeton.
And what did you go to Princeton to study, did you think?
I had no. I don't remember having had any plan, but as you're a freshman, you had basic things you had to take anyway. My thought was I was going to be pre-med, so I had a couple of courses that required labs, and that didn't set well because I was really into golf, and took away 2 afternoons of
Sure.
practice or competition if there was a match. So I decided there's got to be another way to make a living. And so I gave up pre-med and just took general courses the rest of the time.
So what drew you to law then?
Pardon me?
What drew you to law?
You know, that's a fair question, and Roger Brannigan was a neighbor of ours, and his son Bob was my best friend, and Roger, of course, became governor of Indiana, and was a lawyer, law firm of Stuart Brannigan in Lafayette, and so I think it was sort of, well, what the hell? I guess I'll go to law school and see what that's all about. So I think rather than the thought of wanting to be a lawyer and do what a lawyer does, it was, well, it's a way to make a living. I'll try it out, and if I don't like it, I can always go do something else. And
but
so
you ended up liking it.
And I liked it. The firm was very good with me. I got a chance to learn under Jim Donadio and Stan Lawton.
So let me back up real quick here.
Sure.
You know, you're here on this episode as a titan of the plaintiff's bar and all of your history as a plaintiff's lawyer, but you didn't start out as a plaintiff's lawyer, or did you?
Oh, no. I learned my trade as a lawyer for insurance companies, because Ice Miller had Aetna and a number of different insurance companies, and I defended insurance companies for the 9 years that I was with then Ross McCord, Ice and Miller, but now Ice Miller.
So after law school, you started with Ice Miller?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Defending insurance companies.
Yeah.
So how do you go from defending insurance companies to changing to our side of the fence?
Well, by 1969, when I left Ice Miller, then Ross McCord, we had 35 lawyers, and I thought 35 lawyers was way too many to be around on a daily basis. And Earl Townsend, who was a preeminent plaintiff's lawyer in those days, a fabulous trial lawyer, he somehow latched on to me. He knew I was a Michigan man, and I had a case with him where I called it, I let him up for air in a circumstance that was difficult, and so he was kind of on my tail, wanting me to come, because he thought Michigan law school graduates, ate popsicles. And so when I felt like we were getting too many lawyers to keep track of, he wanted me to join. He and his brother John, and John Jr. And so I decided after 9 years I'd try the other side of the fence, and I learned my trial trade defending, so I had at least that advantage going in to know the nuances of the defense, and it was the best decision I ever made insofar as the practice of law was concerned, because I just had all those years of fun and excitement, and the feeling that I was helping somebody in a pinch and maybe make their life better for them.
So did you have, well, we'll start on the defense side. On the defense side, did you have any early mentors as a trial lawyer?
Well, Jim Donadio, one of the named partners, and Stan Lawton, another of the partners, they were the two partners who were in litigation section, if you will, of the firm. And I guess I learned whatever skills I had by the time I left from Stan Lawton, who I worked with on a really a daily basis for an apprentice period of time, and I became a partner. I was a partner 2 years before I left, and that was a big day, so that kept me around for a while. That was my head got about 3 times as big as it was when I became a partner.
Sure.
And so I learned how to try lawsuits really from Stan Lawton, and also Jeff Seeger, and the other lawyers that you've interviewed. They will recognize those names because they're almost, none of them are as old as I am, but they're close.
Well, when you switched over to the plaintiff side, who were your early plaintiff side mentors?
Oh, I would say Earl, because we were there on a daily basis, and he was a smart, really sharp, good lawyer, but I never actually tried a case with him. John, his brother, retired, and shook my hand when I walked in the door and pointed to his desk, and I took over John Townsend's desk and all of his files. And I mean, I had a ready-made plaintiff's practice for me, and I didn't think there was so much difference in preparing to try a plaintiff's case and there was a defense case. You got yourself ready to do battle, and hopefully you didn't leave anything undone.
What kind of advice did you get from your early mentors that you think carries through to that you could pass on to young lawyers, trial lawyers in particular, today?
Well, I think the one thing I always was, I don't know whether anybody ever actually told me this, but be true to yourself. And that involves evaluating who you are and what you are on a rather continuous basis, so you don't get off the right track. I think maybe the one principle that all of the older lawyers that I was around and had an opportunity to be in a litigated scenario was you never can go wrong by being honest and forthright. And that's something that I've always felt was a cardinal principle of being a good lawyer, is you have to be honest and forthright. And you have to be willing, as a part of being forthright, to know what your limitations are. I don't think you ought to be undertaking things that deep in your conscience and in yourself know that you really aren't prepared to do 100%. You're better off just finding somebody to help you and make up that 100%, or give the matter to somebody else who you know can handle it.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit about the Medical Malpractice Act, and you know, your memory of how that came to be, and the fight that ensued, and that you were a part of, and that ITLA was a part of, and tell me about that.
Well, I'll tell you what I can remember. It was it was a tough battle in the sense that we as plaintiffs' lawyers fought it with tooth and nail because we sort of felt like the act as it was presented was, let me back up. It was difficult enough to win a plaintiff's medical malpractice case without the statute. And the enactment of the statute, it didn't make the trial of the case any different, except that you had to deal with an adverse opinion most of the time, the cases that you tried, because you could always take the position with the jury that, well, that's the fox guarding the hen house. So, and I think that worked most of the time.
Can you back up for those for our listeners who don't do plaintiff's medical malpractice work? When you say get an adverse opinion, what are you talking about?
You have to go through a medical review panel today
before you file a lawsuit.
Before you file a lawsuit, and that was sort of a foregone conclusion that you weren't going to win that one, so you had to be prepared to just go ahead because they could because the defense of the healthcare provider would file a motion for summary judgment based on the existence of the negative medical review panel opinion.
Right.
And so you had to have an expert witness and an affidavit of probable cause, if you will, in order to get around that and get to trial. I think, and when the VAC was initially passed, it was really, really difficult to win a medical review panel. Mm-hmm. I think as the years went along and as the medical profession appreciated the fact that there are a lot of mistakes made in the practice of medicine. They didn't get over the hump of saving a brother in a medical review panel process. Right. But it made it less likely that you were always going to get a negative panel of no malpractice. And there became a large is not a correct characterization, a number of physicians throughout the country who were willing to evaluate and testify on behalf of a patient, mm-hmm. Which made it easier to defend the panel process.
Sure.
As we went along, it was a tough struggle for I don't know 3, 4, 5 years in trying to overcome a panel. But as the years went on, there became more and more doctors who would realize and be honest enough to recognize bad medicine when it presented itself, and weren't afraid to say so. Mm-hmm. So it took, I'd guess, probably 10 years.
Over the course of your career, what was your proudest moment legally?
Oh, my proudest moment legally was when my son Rick got a larger judgment than I'd ever gotten.
And what was that? Do you recall?
I don't know, it was $1 million something. He's sitting here. He can
let the record reflect that Rick's in the room.
That was like $1.3 million.
Yeah, that was my recollection. I wasn't sure.
That was your proudest moment? That's fantastic. Sure. That's fantastic. When I was sent a list of your accomplishments, one of the bullet points jumped off the page at me, and I have to ask you if it's true. It says you've tried thousands of med mal cases.
Oh, I don't know that I've tried thousands of them. No,
Hundreds?
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah. I was I became a plaintiff's lawyer after 9 years. That was 19. Let's see. I graduated from law school in '59, so that was, say, 1970.
Okay.
So from 1970 to 10 years ago, that's the number of cases. You always tried 3 or 4 or 5. Some years you wouldn't try any.
Yeah.
So just depended on who was on the other side as well as what the facts were. Been a long haul.
To say the least. Well, any parting advice for the folks who are listening?
Well, I think for young starting and really throughout your career, it's well worthwhile to become a member of the association, Indiana Trial Lawyers Association, and attend the seminars, because there's smart trial lawyers who are talking about pertinent topics, and you can learn a lot just by attending the annual meeting and seminar. And the other thing that I think I would suggest to any young lawyer who's not in a firm that already is established as a plaintiff's firm, pick up the phone and call somebody that you know and that's a plaintiff's lawyer who got a question, and ask them.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever remember hearing anybody say that they wouldn't give what information they had to somebody that called that needed help or wanted to better themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with that. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of Legal Legends from the Hoosier State, brought to you by the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association. I hope you guys have really enjoyed our conversation with Boyd Hovde today, talking about his contributions to Indiana law and the insights that he could provide us. As we conclude another interview, I once again invite you to reflect on the wisdom shared by Boyd today. Every action taken in our legal community plays a crucial role in shaping the future landscape, and I think you can feel good about the work that our members at ITLA have done and continue to do. So until next time, keep it legal and keep it legendary. And as we often find in this life's journey, sometimes we need to step back, take a breath, and appreciate the moments that help shape our path. I'm your host, Joe Williams, and from all of us here at Legal Legends of the Hoosier State, thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more stories from the Hoosier Heartland.